So a couple years ago, I had my biggest growth year in my agency where I grew by 8.3 times in only 12 months. And that taught me everything I needed to learn about how to 5X an agency, or really any kind of business for that matter, within only 1 year. And there are only three things you need to do. The first one is that you just simply need to play that game, meaning if you're trying to grow by 5 times, maybe you're doing 10,000 a month right now, and you want to be doing 50,000 a month by the end of the year. You have to play the game that's going to get you to 5 times your business within that period of time, meaning you have to think that way, right? If you're thinking small and you're thinking about, making 10% growth every 4 months, that's not what's going to get you there. That won't even double you over the course of a year, right? So you really need to think about what needs to happen mathematically in order for us to get there. And not only that, some of the other steps I'm going to talk about, what hires do we need to make? What systems do we need to build? You really need to think, if we're going to be doing $50,000 a month, let's extrapolate on what we're currently doing in terms of lead gen, appointment setting, sales, and fulfillment, and look at what work needs to be done, how much work needs to be done, can we handle that ourselves, who needs to be involved for that to happen, and everything in between. Then you know for a fact that you need to first understand what a $50,000 a month business looks like, or what a business that is 5 times bigger than yours looks like, right? From a capacity standpoint, from a work standpoint. Again, how much work needs to be done and what things need to happen in order for you to be able to sustainably, consistently do that, right? So that's the first one, which again is just make sure you're playing that game. You have to be thinking in a 5X kind of mindset, if you will. It's a lot of work. You also have to be prepared for the fact that it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be stressful. There are going to be things that go wrong. It's not a walk in the park. Now, the next thing is you need to have a plan for what it's going to look like in terms of increasing your capacity in the business to reach that level. So I talked to you about playing that game and making sure you're understanding what that business is going to look like, right? What hires do you need? What work needs to be done, etc. But we want to get a lot more into the nitty gritty of the people, the hiring, and the systems side of things, right? We need to understand again, what exactly is going to happen? How many onboarding calls need to be taken per week? How many client accounts need to be launched per week? How much customer support is there going to be on a consistent basis? What problems do we run into from a client service delivery standpoint right now? Well, those are going to multiply by 5 times. Now, that's not to say you can't solve those problems and fix them and improve that. But that being said, you want to make sure you're prepared for something like that to happen. And that helps you understand how many hours of work need to be put into the business on a weekly basis. Because once you understand how many hours need to be put into the business on a weekly basis in all different parts of your business, meaning admin and operations, appointment setting and sales and marketing, then it's so much easier for you to look at, okay, well, we need a hire here and we need a hire here. Right? Because maybe if you're going again from 10 to 50,000 a month, for example, you can take the sales calls yourself, but you're going to need help on the fulfillment side. And you're going to need to bring somebody in place at some point over the course of this year. And I'll talk about in a second, when's the right place and right time to be hiring somebody. But you need to make sure that person is put in place and already trained so that when you double your lead gen at a certain point in the year, everything is going to run smoothly or as smoothly as possible, as opposed to you having to panic hire and everything like that, which is one thing that I actually have personally experienced. Now, real quick, especially if you're between the $10,000 to $100,000 per month mark in your agency, even $8,000 a month kind of thing, book a call with me in the description. I've created something called the low ticket call funnel, where you can run ads and essentially get sales calls for free because we're selling a low ticket product. We're delivering that product on a call with the client and then upselling them into our high ticket service. It's really cool. I'm personally currently getting a 1-to-1 on my low ticket ads right now. So I'm getting calls booked for free. They're much warmer than your traditional paid ad lead. And I'm getting a 6-to-1 with my high ticket upsell on the back end. So if that's something you want to implement with me personally for a limited time, click the link in the description, book a call with me. We'll have a chat. We'll see if it makes sense and go from there. If you're below 10K per month, you can also book a call with me. I have a private scaling group where we talk about, how to get you to 10, 20, 30,000 a month kind of thing. So if you're interested in that, you can also book a call in the description. So the next piece here is, when do you hire? And that's really determined by a couple of things. One is your current capacity. Another one is your cash on hand and your cash flow, right? So what is your current capacity? So if you look at your business right now, at what point would you run into problems or not be able to handle all of your clients? Meaning, what exact number of clients would you have to have in order for that to happen? That's the first piece that you want to look at. So let's say it's 25 clients and right now you have 10 clients. Okay, cool. Now you also want to look at how many new clients are you signing per month, and also how many clients are leaving per month on average. Maybe one client leaves per month and you're signing 5 clients a month or 6 clients a month on average, right? So you're getting plus 5 new clients per month right now. Well, what that means is within 3 months, you're going to need to hire somebody else to help you with fulfillment. Otherwise, you're going to hit that 25 mark and things are going to start to get ugly. Now, there is a limit of how many people you can handle, but at that low level of scale, you don't really have to worry about that. I don't know if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. But that's the first piece. How much capacity do you have right now? Can you handle, maybe you have 10 clients. Can you handle 70 with your current team? If you can handle 70, then you don't even have to worry about hiring for a while, unless you're doing a really high volume of sales. So capacity is a really big one. If you feel like especially if it's just you and you're doing 15 or 20 grand a month, that's where things start to get pretty hectic and hires start to make sense. So that's one piece to it. Another piece to it is your cash on hand and your cash flow, right? So how much money, because the thing is, when you're scaling your outreach or your ads, you need to spend more on that, right? So what's your profit per month, but how much cash do you have in the bank? Because you don't want to end up bankrupting yourself and screwing yourself completely because maybe you hired somebody that you shouldn't have hired, or you hired them too early for how much they cost. And now next month you're not able to pay your expenses and you're screwed, right? You want to be very careful. You need to be very careful about that also. So those are things to balance. Again, what's your capacity, what's your cash on hand, and then what's your cash flow? Now, the third and final piece to all of this is scaling your lead gen, right? So really, it's really simple. Let's say you're bringing in 5 clients per month right now, and you want to bring 10 clients per month in. Odds are you're going to need to spend about double on your lead gen. You're going to need to double your lead gen, right? Yes, there's a financial piece, but there's also the literal, how many leads are we bringing in per month, and how many of them are converting into sales, right? So that's really basic math. A 5x is a little more than doubling twice in a year. So as long as you can handle the capacity, you're playing the game of doubling more than twice in a year, meaning 2.5x twice in a year kind of thing, or 2.25x, whatever the number is. You have to play that game. Then you have to make sure you have the capacity to be able to handle that. And you can aim to 2.25x, 4 months into the year, and then 8 months into the year, and then by the end of the year you can be at that point, right? It doesn't have to be perfectly like you 5x overnight to night and everything's going to go crazy. It's more responsible to do it a little bit more slowly, just to make sure that you're not screwing yourself. So you need to make sure that you can scale your lead gen that much, that you can 5x your lead gen. Are you sending personalized cold emails to a small niche list? Well, that list is going to run out at some point throughout the year, especially if you're trying to double, triple, quadruple, or 5x your one outreach method. So you may need to add additional outreach methods on. Even though you may plan on scaling them 7-8 months down the line, you need to start building them now, right? So that's another big piece to it as well. So you want to make sure that you have lead gen methods that you can scale up to that point in the first place, right? So that's more of a foundational piece. But yeah, that's all for this one. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Otherwise, click whatever's popping up on screen here, and I'll see you there.